Hi everyone, I'd just like to make a few comments on your sources, the way that you did your bibliographies, just some general things. A couple of major issues I saw that really need to be sewn up now, and not necessarily for your paper or this project. Really the goal of this class, remember, is to prepare you for your graduate work in general. And so the stuff that I say here is really it's to your benefit to listen, because it'll help you all the way through your degree program. Really every class in School of Theology. So the first major thing is some of you, it doesn't look as though you're using the Fuller Library website in order to locate sources. Now you have to do it. The Fuller Library website gives you access to a whole bunch of databases in religion, theology, and biblical studies. And once you figure out how to use it, you're going to get access to cutting-edge research. They even now are just purchasing tons and tons of ebooks, so you can access sources from your computer terminal, which is especially important for a lot of you guys because you're doing your degree, at least a large portion of it, away from the traditional classroom. So any access you have to digital content is huge. So check out on our course documents. There's a little guide that I put together. It's called Locating Academic Articles. I think locating good articles, something like that, online, or locating articles online, whatever. Check out that. I put it together a couple months back, and it's really critical. Get used to doing it. To this day, I mean, I use the thing almost every day for what I have to do. So please check that out. Look for ebooks. Look for articles where you can download the PDF. It'll really help your research. Next thing, the conventions of School of Theology and Turabian, whatnot. There's some things you can learn from Turabian the easy way. I mean, that book's awesome. It's great. It's a small guide, gets you into Chicago-style Turabian formatting. However, it doesn't have everything. You'll notice that I've done things like if your book is InterVarsity Press, for example, your citation says Downers Grove, and then there's a colon, InterVarsity Press. A lot of you, if you're following Turabian closely, have put Downers Grove, IL or ILL to signify Illinois, the state. In biblical studies and theology, if you have a publisher where they're really well known, like IVP is a pretty big deal publisher, then you don't need to tell what state they're from. You can just put Downers Grove. Likewise, if you have a publisher that maybe isn't so famous, but the city where they publish is like New York, then you don't need to say New York, New York. We know where New York City is. Those are just little tiny things. The rule of thumb really in putting together bibliographies, citations, and footnotes is you're trying to minimize the number of characters you're using. When we're publishing, editors and proofreaders, and they want to be as cheap as possible getting the book out, or the article or whatever, and so they want to avoid as many extra things as possible. So what we're really doing in theology is in terms of formatting and styles, we're taking Turabian and we're streamlining it as much as possible. That is not going to come until much later. These are just, I'm pointing these things out. You can take advantage of them now, but really, honestly, I mean, format, style, it's awful. It's so difficult to do. Every time I turn something in for my dissertation, it comes back just marked up in red, this, that, and the other thing. So don't be discouraged by all the small edits and whatnot that I've made. The idea is just to get you on track. If you can have a good, consistent style at the master's level, most of your Fuller profs will probably be happy with that. So just practice it now, lock it down, and we should be good. Last thing, probably most important, is academic quality. If you have not accessed course documents, Choosing Good Sources, a guide, it's a short guide. If you have not accessed and read that and really internalized that yet, please do immediately. It's a great guide. It really will help you at this level make a quick and dirty determination about whether or not the source that you're using is academic quality or not. when you're first starting in academic research, the most difficult thing is recognizing what's good and what isn't. There's so much out there, and with Google and all that, you can find, and Amazon, you can find a million things. The problem is that there is whatever it is that you're studying in theology or biblical studies, there is a stream of research where the highest quality stuff has been put together, and the people who are publishing there know that conversation. And one of the things you're doing as you're developing a research project is you're trying to get into that conversation. And in order to get into that conversation, you need to know who knows what. After you've been at it for a couple of years, you'll start to recognize, really big names in both publishers and authors in your field. You'll begin to recognize who the big players are. But at the very beginning, you don't know that. And the danger is a lot of students will not find their way into the conversation. That's why that guide, the Choosing Good Sources guide, is so critical. Because if you follow it and you stick with it, you will begin to see the same names over and over and over as you're studying something. You'll begin to recognize who the big, or what the big publications are in your topic, and you'll be able to find your way into the conversation, get an idea of what the people in the know are saying and have been saying, ideally for at least the last 50 years. And once you've done that, then you're really ready to make a contribution. You can't make a contribution until you know what's already been said and what has already been, really in a lot of ways, discredited. There's a lot of stuff out there that a lot of people say until you've been in the midst of the streams of scholarship, you don't know what stuff has already been just discarded because people have made arguments, they've demonstrated that that's just not a tenable thing to hold anymore. If you don't know that stuff, then how are you going to be able to participate at the highest level? And that's really what we're trying to establish. At the master's level, your goal is to be able to get a sense for what the state of research is, and then assess it. And then the final level, at the graduate level, the terminal degree, the PhD, all you're doing is doing that, and then saying something new. And so what we're doing here in this class is making sure that every single one of you has the ability to wade into the millions and millions and millions of words that have been written about whatever it is that you're doing, and get a sense of what matters, what doesn't, and then be able to assess and say, well, this is good, this is bad, here's why not. At the end of all that, you begin to make your own claim. This is what Tom thinks. So in order to do that, you need to be able to get into the conversation, and the way to do that right now at this level is to either A, ask me, which you can always do, or B, just read that little thing in course documents, Choosing Good Sources. It'll help you get your bearings. Those are the major issues I saw. In general, I think almost every single submission had at least one really fantastic source. I'm looking forward to your projects. They look really fun. Yeah, you're going to get a chance to do bibliography again. Yay! I think in a couple weeks. I haven't looked at the syllabus in a while, but the next time, whatever you've seen here, if you can make improvements on that, I'm going to take that into account when I'm grading your next bibliographic entry. So take a good look at the comments, try and get a sense of what worked, what didn't, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.